Perfect. All right, so the recording started, and yeah, let me get my presentation started really quick. You can see my screen, I trust, right, so far? All right, can you see the slideshow child themes?
Yes.
Perfect. Great. So again, I can't see you guys because the presentation is taking over everything I've got going on here. So just cut me off if you've got questions. Today we are talking about an introduction to child themes. First thing is, what are they? I think this is probably the biggest question people have when it comes to child themes is, what are they? If you've been in the WordPress world for a while, you're probably familiar with themes like Genesis, StudioPress, all of those. I haven't used those themes in a really long time, so I don't know if it's changed, but back in the day when I was using them, they used child themes. So Genesis themes was like your foundation. And then if you wanted to look a certain way, you would go find a child theme. And the child theme is just like an overlay of the theme that of the Genesis theme. So that's kind of what it is. And I think as I walk you through how to create a child theme, that will make a little more sense. The way I kind of describe what a child theme is, it's kind of like taking a mannequin that has no clothes on it, has no accessories or anything like that on it. It's just blank. And that's what like Genesis themes was. It was just a blank mannequin. And then your child theme is like putting on the outfit, the shirt, the pants, whatever it is that you're trying to display. You're going for a certain look. And that's what a child theme is. Okay. It's the appearance of the foundations of the mannequin in this case. So that examples seem to work pretty well for most people to kind of understand. Is like we have like a blank canvas and our child theme just adds on to it. And do you need one is the other big question, because you probably read a lot, you've seen it, people talk about it. Do you need a child theme? Back in the day, yes, 100% you needed a child theme. That's just the way everything worked. Because what would happen is you have your theme and you can make customizations directly to the theme, the parent theme that you're working with. But as soon as there's an update for that theme, all of your customizations are wiped out because all of those core files are replaced with the updated ones. So everything that you spent hours working and customizing and getting it just right is gone. So the child theme is just a layer on top of your parent theme, and you can add your customizations within the child theme, and they just display kind of in line with your parent theme. So anytime the parent theme is updated, your customizations are never lost because they're separate. They're in a different file than your parent theme. So yes, you need one, but today, specifically with Divi, I think Divi's made a ton of improvements and features that have kind of almost eliminated the need for a child theme. Because in Divi, if you recall, if you could just go to theme options, that first tab, you scroll all the way to the bottom, you can put your custom CSS. Okay, that's the big reason why people would need a child theme, is to put their custom CSS. But Divi houses it right inside, and anytime they update Divi theme, it doesn't overwrite that portion. So that helps too. And then with the introduction of the theme builder, you also no longer need to create custom files that overwrite post templates, category pages, any of that, because the theme builder will do it. Even with Divi, before they introduced the theme builder feature, you can never customize your category pages or your tag pages, your search page. That was never an option with Divi theme, and so you still needed a child theme to create these overlay files within your child theme to get the display to design those pages if you're to use them. So today, I think you could truly get away with not using a child theme at all, because especially with Divi, you can do so much with it. And I love that. So next, I do want to talk about how to create one, but so far, are there any questions about child theme? Because it's a very simple concept, but it's a very common question that people have. So I do want to talk or answer any questions you have so far. And again, I can't see you, so just speak up.
Is the child theme like the layout, like the layouts that Divi have, or is it something that goes over the layouts?
So that's a great question. So layouts are different. Layouts are just kind of design packs that use your sections, rows, and modules that you can download, and they come in those JSON files that you just upload. A child theme it has a specific CSS file. It has its own functions.php file. And from there, so that's the core, you need those things. But beyond that, you could overwrite WooCommerce files, like I was saying before, your category pages, things like that. At a more code level, your layout packs are just, you just upload them and it replaces your existing Divi layouts in the page builder format. So that's a great question. Does that make sense? Kind of the difference between them, maybe?
Absolutely. I think that once you go on, I can, probably get a greater understanding.
Okay. Yeah. I think, once we move into the steps of how to create one, they'll clarify more of the structure of a child theme. Any other questions before we dive into those?
Sure, I may have one.
Okay.
So if you don't really need one in today's world, I guess you could say, or with the improvements from Divi, is there a point to a use case where you would want to use it?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah. So for myself, I use child themes partly because one, it gets me, if I ever need it, it's already set up. So every website I build, I just put a blank child theme on there. I might not ever use it, but it's ready to go. The most common cases that I use a child theme on Divi is for the e-commerce sites, specifically with like WooCommerce. And with WooCommerce, and it totally depends on the client, the flow that they want things to do, or if they want WooCommerce to look like another payment portal, whatever that requirement might be. To modify anything in WooCommerce, you'll often find code snippets that go in your functions.php file to modify anything. The way the quantity ticker looks like next to the add to cart button. I mean, truly the list is endless when it comes to WooCommerce, but these types of modifications are typically added to your functions.php file. And that's when I would 100% want a child theme for Divi to put those changes there so that when Divi's updated, I don't lose any of that. But that's about the only time I truly, truly rely on a child theme is for these e-commerce sites where we live in a world where the checkout process is different every time, every website we go to. And people want it to mimic the sites that they like the most. And WooCommerce isn't flexible like that. And it's just finding those code snippets to place in there. But beyond that, Divi is the way to go. So does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Perfect. Are there any others?
I had a question, Dustin. There are plugin called snippets.com. If you use that to put a code for functions.php and you're not touching your functions.php, then is it okay to do it in a main file and don't have a child theme?
If you're using another plugin like that, it sounds like it's keeping it separate from the main theme, which serves the same purpose. The thing I like about just creating a basic child theme like this is, one, we're not adding additional code from the plugin, and we achieve the same thing at the end. And after I show you how to create one, I can walk you through really quick on where you could go within the theme to edit your functions.php file or your style.css file.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. Anything else? Should we continue on? Cool. Let's continue on. So, like I said, these steps you can find. I will send out a PDF after our meetup that goes through each of these. So you don't have to try and write everything down, because some of these will get a bit much to try and keep up with. So step one, what do you need? There's all kinds of professional tools out there, but the basic is you need your computer. And if you're on a Windows computer, it's the Notepad app, or on a Mac, it's the Text Edit app. Now, you want to use one of these two. You don't want to use like Microsoft Word or Pages or Google Docs or any of that, because these are plain text editors. And if you're using one of these other word processors, things like quote marks are rendered differently and will break your code. So using a plain text editor like this will ensure that it's being rendered as code, being typed as code. So use this. If you're using professional tools, you get great markup and like error tracking and all that kind of fancy stuff in there. But if you're just copying and pasting stuff that's been tried and true that you found in a forum or something online, a tutorial, chances are you don't need all that. It's just a copy and paste. And something like this, these two apps would work perfect. So these come with your operating system. You don't need to download them or anything like that, but that's what you need to get started. Next, we need to create a folder, and you can call it really whatever you want. Divi Child theme makes the most sense. So create a folder, and inside of that folder, we're going to create these three files. We're going to have, and we'll use one of our text edit apps and create a functions.php. And with the extension, so .php and .css, when you're saving these files, you'll probably try to save it as a .txt file or something else, and you'll want to physically change that. It might ask you, confirm that change. Yes, you want it to be a PHP file or a style.css file. Okay, so you want that extension to be correct so it loads correctly. And then you can create a screenshot or a image to go with your child theme. So when you're in the theme section of WordPress and you see all the images that go with all the themes, this is what that will be. So those are the three minimum files you have to have for your child theme. Okay, so at this point, they're blank. We've saved them into our folder. And now let's go ahead and create our image to go with our child theme. You can use any image creation tool you have access to, be it Photoshop, Canva. The list is endless, I feel like, these days with online options. So any image creation tool, the only thing is your tool needs to allow you to do a custom size of 1200 pixels wide by 900 pixels tall. And that's the size that WordPress recommends. Save it in a PNG format and use the file name screenshot. That's been the tutorials that I've seen online. I do think you can use a JPEG format now, but more importantly, you need to use the screenshot file name. Okay, so it'll be screenshot.png, just like we see here. That's what it needs to be called. And then we have our image ready to go, and we save that in our folder. Now for the CSS file, These are the lines that you need to have. However, the required ones are theme name and template. Okay, and you want these to match what your parent theme is. So our theme name is Divi Child. That's you can probably name that whatever, but your template has to be the name of your parent theme. In this case, it is Divi, the capital D. These other lines like theme URI, description, author, version, those show up as kind of the metadata. When you load your theme in there, people can see that it's version 1.0, that you made it, things like that, but they're not required, okay? And everything is in green here. You got like the forward slashes and the asterisks going on to indicate that all this here is commented out. It will not render style on your website. And then below that bottom line, line 13, is where you would then add your custom CSS for your website. Okay. Again, I'll send out a PDF that shows all this, and I'll even attach my child theme here for you guys to get you started. You can modify it however you want. Okay, so that's our style.css file. Next is our functions.php file. Now, with a child theme, these two files are required, specifically the style.css file. It needs to know that it's inheriting your parent theme CSS, so it can add it to the parent theme when it loads. With CSS, you could do like includes and all that stuff, but that's no longer good practice. They suggest that you use some PHP code to add your CSS file, your child theme CSS file, to your parent theme. And this is what that would look like. Okay, just 5 lines of code, and that's it. If you're not familiar with PHP or any of that, here on line 1, we have our opening tag for PHP code. In our functions.php file, we do not want to close that PHP code block. So we'll always leave it open. So every function that we have, like here, will just end. We're not going to end the PHP code block. Our parent theme will be the one to do that. Okay. And then once we're done, we've got our files in there in our folder. Now we'll just compress or zip our child theme folder together and then upload it to WordPress, just like we always do. And if Divi is already activated, we can activate our child theme and it will take precedence over Divi. Okay. And that's it. That's truly the basic simple steps of creating your own child theme. So with that, are there any questions about how to do it? No? All right. So going back to one of the other questions here, let me demo how to edit our these files from within WordPress. Okay. So give me a second to pull up my demo site here. You guys doing okay? You're hanging in there?
All good.
Perfect. I see John shaking, nodding her head. That's good. Okay. Let me share my screen again. Perfect. Okay, so here's my demo site here. If we go to appearance, here we'll just see really quick that we've got our child theme loaded in here. And While we're under this appearance section here in WordPress, if we go all the way down, we see an option that says Theme Editor. And if this is the first time you've ever been to this section, you will be presented with the warning that says, are you sure you want to do this? Any modifications could break your site. Okay, and you just say, yes, I accept the risks, and you're good to go. Once we're in, our default theme that's going to display is the one that's active. But there is a drop-down list that allows us to toggle to any of the themes that we have installed on our website. So we have our Divi Child theme, and below that, we have our theme files, and we have our style.css and our functions.php file, okay? And this section here probably looks really familiar from our presentation there. And then below it, we've got custom CSS that we've added below it, okay? So right here, you can just add your CSS just like you would in your Notepad app or your text edit app. And what's nice about this though, is it's trying to stimulate some of our pro level software apps, coding apps, and it'll coordinate, color coordinate things like comments or selectors and things like that. But also, it has error detection. So what I've just typed, a bunch of gibberish, is going to break things. It's not going to work, and they're letting me know that. And so anything that's not correctly written in CSS format, it will try to detect that and let you know, okay? So that's nice. If we jump over to our functions.php file, maybe, it's thinking. There we go. So functions.php, I've got all kinds of stuff running in here, none of which is required. But here, our first 5 lines is what we saw in our presentation. This is adding in or merging our child theme CSS with our parent CSS. And then I've got things like adding the current year for the footer, that kind of code. Pretty simple. What I like about editing this PHP file here inside of WordPress is that if I put in code that breaks the website and WordPress detects that something is broken, it will revert back to the original and let me know that this is not going to work and I need to redo it. So that's also really nice because there's nothing more frustrating, and this used to definitely be the case with child themes, is you would add in your custom code here, and then you would click update and your site would break. You get the white screen of death, but you couldn't do anything about it because, well, you broke your website. You broke the back end of WordPress. Like you can't access this anymore. And the only way around it was to log in via FTP or through your hosting file manager, find your functions.php file, rip out the code you added, update it, and then come back to WordPress and refresh and try it again. So I think what they've done works really well. It's saved a ton of time because of their error detection that they've got going on. So that's super simple right here. How do you update your child theme once it's loaded on the website? Just come to Theme Editor and away you go. So does that help? So I know once we got through the demo of how to create a child theme and things like that, has that cleared up any other questions? Has it created more questions? Where are we at?
I have a question for you, Dustin.
Yeah.
So I use a lot of child themes because I come from the Genesis, like 80% of my websites are Genesis, so I'm already used to using child themes, right?
Yeah.
But Divi, just out of habit, I just use child themes anyway in Divi for that reason, what you're doing. Do you have a boilerplate that you have on for your own, like I have a boilerplate, like on certain projects, I get rid of projects, you know, the custom post type projects, my function wipes out that, or
Mhm.
Do you have a boilerplate thing you use in Divi yourself?
So the only thing that I will start with right away is adding in the current year.
Yeah, I use that one too. Yep.
For the footer, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, I don't take out projects. I don't use them, but I never thought to just remove them. But
well, I have when I hand them over to clients, I don't want them like messing with things that they don't need to, right? They don't need to be
sure.
poking around the projects area. So it's really simple. It's only like 4 or 5 lines and the project thing is gone. So yeah, I was just wondering if you had that, if that's what you had with your child theme.
I don't. So not specifically with child themes. I've got more of a boilerplate, so to speak, with saving out specific sections for a web page or modules, things like that. So I've kind of got designs already set up, and then I just export those layouts to use elsewhere to kind of get me started within Divi. Less, I used to have massive looking child themes with all this custom CSS and functions and all that. But it was just too much. I just decided, was like, if I need it, I'll go and grab it. So I've got like files saved, and if I need, custom CSS snippets or functions, I've just have like a file saved in my computer, and I just go grab exactly what I need, put it in my child theme. So that, in a way, it saves the effort still because it's already typed up. I don't have to think about it anymore, go look for it. So I just go grab what I need rather than every website having the same code that's not even being used.
Right. Okay.
So it's kind of my approach. But great question. So anything else?
So it's not a question, but one pro towards using a child theme is that it's kind to you and to the developer who comes after you or maintains that site, as we maintain many sites. And if there's no child theme, we don't know if the site's going to break when we update the theme. We don't know, without doing a lot of delving into it, if there's custom coding. So I think it's a best practice to just always use a child theme, as you pointed out, super easy to do. And then you just don't have to have that worry going forward. You always know that the theme itself is protected. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like that too. I have inherited a few websites myself over the years, and sometimes the question is, can you help me with this? I'm like, well, give me access. Let me take a look. And, I'm able to log in. And one of the first things I go look for is, what theme are they using? Is it a child theme? If it is a child theme, what customizations have been added? And just really try to get a lay of the land. But that's one of the first things I go look for is, can I find the customizations they've done, if there are any? So that's, yeah, appreciate it, Betty. That's perfect. Which is, I have a question for you guys. Some of you are probably on the fence. Do I need one? What is it? And then there's others who have been in the industry for a little while. What are your thoughts? Do you need one? Do you use one? I know Joan, she's kind of like, nope, out of here. No child themes for me. But I'm curious, what do you guys think? Do you think you need one? Do you use one?
Well, Betty brings up a good point there. Depends on, what you inherit. Because in some cases, you're inheriting a website, and yeah, an update for Divi could just crash the whole site, sure. But, I guess if I'm inheriting a huge, big website, then I might consider using it, yeah. But so far, I haven't had to inherit a huge website because the client says, oh, I like more what Divi does. Would you just replicate my site in Divi? And then we want to change it and modify it. And they want it to be really simple, see? So the site ends up by being a really simple site. So I don't do a child theme in that aspect at all. I just use the Divi theme, and then they look at the layout, and then they say, oh, we would like that layout. And so we start styling and building a layout that's more important. But, you know, it also depends on the functionality of the theme, like you mentioned with WooCommerce. It's all a different type of thing altogether.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah. Today, I just feel like it 100% depends on the project anymore, if they're required. Like, I don't think they're as required as they used to be.
I think so. But my CSS knowledge is not that good that I could follow everything on the style sheet. I mean, you know, like Dylan has plenty more experience. He's used to using child themes. So then it's a natural progression. Yeah, then you'd use the child theme, sure. You know.
But yeah, that being said, it's also, comfort with code. Some people aren't even comfortable editing PHP, right? That's probably the more difficult of the two languages for most people, I'd say average. And just, now I don't even like talking about child themes. Actually, I developed my own plugin. So most of my functionality comes from my plugins, not even my child theme.
Right. You see, if you're in that mode of developer mode, hey, then you know what to do. See, I'm not in the developer mode. I'd have to come to you and say, help me with this, you see? And then, you know, I have to go from there.
Right.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Right.
It's like me. I go to copywriters. They help me. You know, it takes me forever to write copy. So.
Tell me about it. Yes.
Yeah. I think those are great examples. I thought of another one that I use child themes for, and it starts to lean more into the more custom sites, and that's with like using advanced custom post types. I love that plugin, but sometimes, depending on what features you're using within that plugin, you can't get them to display using Divi dynamic content. I wish Divi was a little more accepting of all that that plugin does. But in any case, when I can't get something to display using that plugin, I will write my own shortcodes to put content where I need it. That's very advanced, I feel like, from what most people would be willing to do, but that's what I use a child theme for as well, is advanced custom fields.
Have you used Divi Engine, speaking of which?
I haven't heard of Divi Engine.
It kind of makes so you can use all that functionality of advanced custom post types within the Divi framework.
Divi Engine is good.
Yeah.
It's a very good plugin, but it is if you don't understand PHP and stuff, you're lost. I didn't understand it, but we had the developer of that plugin present at one of our meetups, the Divi Meetup, and it was just incredible what you can do. I mean, if you've got that kind of information on that website, oh yeah, go for it.
Yeah, and particularly within Divi, Engine is like the name of the company. I think there's Divi Machine is the name of the plugin that will do the advanced custom post type stuff.
Right.
Okay.
Advanced custom fields. Yeah.
It'll do it for you instead of in the style sheet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a fun little tidbit there. Wow, and Divi Machine's only 18 pounds. That's such a good deal for one site.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's like per year. Or you could do unlimited lifetime ones for a lot more, or $60 for a life, or 63 pounds for a lifetime on one site.
Yeah, that's a great deal. Thanks for sharing. I'm going to definitely look into all of their plugins. Because as much as I might feel comfortable about coding my own shortcodes and adding different things to the website, I like solutions like this because they save time. And the more I save time, just the quicker we have turnaround and everyone's happier. So I like that. I was looking to that. So
So we still put in child themes, although like you said with Divi, I don't use them very often. If it's still blank, do you see any performance issues with leaving that in there?
I don't, because there's nothing there. I would say the performance hit will come if you're doing what I was doing years ago, of everything that I possibly could want or need in any website I was adding in there and using that as like my boilerplate. That will definitely slow it down because your site's trying to load all of that code and compile it or do whatever. And it's not even being used. It's like worthless space that it's trying to take up. And so, yeah, clean code is a big deal. So if you're not using any of it, definitely rip it out. But yeah, if there's nothing in there, yeah, not going to matter.
And I've been cheating and using a plugin. You pop the plugin, you put in some information, it spins up a child theme, you remove the plugin, and you're done. So kind of like that.
That's
the one
nice.
I use is Child Theme Generator. So I put in a different image, something with our name in it, so that helps. One thing I found, I'm curious if anybody else has, if your child theme has a space in the name, it doesn't want to, the site doesn't want to display in the customizer. Has anybody run into that before? As soon as I take that space out of the name, like if it's Divi Child and I take the space out, then the customizer will show the site, whereas with the space in it will not.
I personally haven't. I don't know if Dylan has in his experience or anyone else. But in my, dare I say, professional training of coding, spaces are bad. So everything is replaced with an underscore, a dash, or you do your typical like camel case or something like that. Yeah, because spaces are bad. So I would assume that is what's going on, is it's just bad code, having that space in there and how it's trying to connect and load everything.
Yep. PHP is a little unforgiving.
Yep.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. So, yeah, I haven't seen that. But also, like I said, I think I just have been in the habit of not putting spaces in a lot of things because of that, because of what I was taught. So
it drove me crazy forever. I couldn't figure it out. And finally on a search, I found it. And yeah, so now I know to take it out of there, or like you said, replace it with an underscore or something. But yeah, that was that one was a little while before I stumbled across why that was happening.
Yeah. Oh, I hate those Google searches that are not fruitful, for sure. It's like, okay, someone else in this world has had to experience what I'm going through.
Exactly. It couldn't have just been me. It didn't make any sense. But yeah.
Huh. Well, that's a good tip too. So don't put spaces in your child theme name.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I do have child theme, and but it's there and activate and work on it. My question is the CSS that I'm putting in theme options, is it going to the CSS file of child theme?
It is not.
Okay.
Yep. Whatever you're putting under theme options is contained within the Divi theme itself. Yeah, it is. Yeah, they're very separate.
Okay.
And I think when you say that, I think it brings up a good point too, is the way CSS works is it reads top to bottom. Anything on the bottom will overwrite anything on the top. So if you have like a duplicate class name or an ID, it will, whatever comes last will overwrite anything on the top. Okay, so if you've written anything in your theme options CSS and you forgot you put it there and you go put it in your CSS style.css child theme file, then things are gonna overwrite each other because there's hierarchy, there's a pecking order. And it's been a while since I've encountered this issue, but I want to say that your child theme will take precedence, so it's at the top. Anything you put inside a Divi will come below it. So if you're seeing conflict in your styling not loading, probably because you have duplicates, that's probably what's going on. So only put it in one place. You don't need it in both.
Okay. So the best practice is if I'm using a child theme, I put my CSS in that style.css of the child theme. Is it? Okay.
Well, that's up to you.
Okay. Tricky
Um,
one, yeah.
It is
It's a
tricky.
preference.
It's preference, 100% preference. My preference is I will put it under theme options.
Yeah, it's much easier. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, you can see it and true. That's what I tend doing.
Yep.
My preference is theme options first, and then once the site is developed, I put it in the other one, all of it. Because if you look at the code, it's going to put that CSS. If you inspect the page, like, view the code, you're going to see that whole section of code in there. So I'd rather just remove it out and move it into the CSS file. But that's just me, right?
There you go.
Yeah. But you're right. When you have it in the theme options, it's you can see that live view, right? That live preview of when you kind of edit the code. Yep. So that's really nice.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, there's benefits to both for sure.
Right.
Yeah, I like that.
Sorry. Does anybody use Google extension of the CSS? It's a Chrome extension. Does anybody use it? It's a live, I don't know, I saw in one of the videos, I don't know of it. It's a Chrome extension, CSS Chrome extension. So you can just change the code instead of putting in the inspect code and all that. So I don't know if anybody has any information on that.
Mine's called Live CSS Editor. And yeah, you can put code in there much like you do with the inspect tool, but it's persistent. So if you open it back up, it's still there. If you refresh the page, it's still there. Like with the inspect tool, if you refresh the page, it's gone.
It goes on.
And it's easy to copy it out of there. So yeah, I do use that occasionally. I don't use it as much as I used to, but there is one.
Okay. Thanks.
Cool. That sounds like a similar tool to what Dylan was sharing with us when he talked about accessibility. I think you can do those persistent changes without actually modifying the website.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of tools out there to do that. Just kind of getting used to it. Out of all the browser types, I know this is a totally different subject, but out of all the browser types, Firefox is probably the best one if you get used to that inspecting tool there.
Oh,
they have the most diagnostics for like where columns are, sections are, all that stuff. But you have to get used to it, because if you're used to using Chrome, then it's kind of weird to use at first.
Okay. I was gonna say, like, I think my preference is Chromium-based browsers, so Chrome, Microsoft Edge. I guess I'm just used to it, so maybe I prefer that.
And Firefox has a Firefox developer as well on top of it. They have a separate program called Firefox Developer that has even more and more tools that probably you need to deal with, but it's there.
Good to know. I try to make a habit of using all browsers because they all seem to render things differently. And it just helps to be ahead of the client. And when they say, this does not look right.
I know. Then they check it on some weird old computer you didn't think they'd make anymore.
Oh yeah, I'm like, get a new computer. Yeah.
Does the Firefox tools have the map of the elements on a page so like if your Z index on a setting is hiding something else, there used to be a map in one of the editors that would show what is covering other things. And you could actually twist it and sort of see the layers like sandwiched and stuff. Does that still exist? Is anybody aware of that?
I'm not sure if that's in Firefox, for sure.
Because I had it for a while and then it was gone, and I just don't remember where it went. And it was kind of it was just kind of cool to look at, even if it wasn't helpful, because you can twist it around and see like a 3D image of your site, the page. It was kind of cool. So that not useful, but useful occasionally when you got something that you can't figure out why you can't click on a button that you can see. That might be why.
Yeah. Well, I think that's probably worth trying to find, Scott, actually, because those the newer Divi layout packs where they've got crazy positioning of different elements and stuff, it's just like can't click on it. Yeah. So you can do crazy stuff with CSS. So being able to figure out why you can't select it because you layered it differently or something, that'd be great. Sweet. Well, great comments, questions all the way around. I guess my question right now is, do we feel like we understand what child themes are, and do we need them? Maybe. I can see most people. So Betty's, yeah, she's like,
Yes.
Like I said, I just like that it's. Oh, I can't talk.
Turn your mic on. Or your,
I just like it because I can, because it takes out some of the questions of what did someone else do.
Yeah.
That's why I like it.
That's perfect. Yeah. It's totally preference, honestly, whatever anyone wants to do. I do think there's a use case for them, and I do personally use them myself. Even if there's no code in it, I still have a child theme loaded up with every new website project that I do. Maybe it's just peace of mind. It's a security blanket I have. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I still use them. Even if there's 3 lines of code in there. So, but
So to
yeah.
understand that, okay, so you would use that if you inherit a website and you want to figure out what they did, like you can use that for that?
Yeah, it's a great way to start to see what might have happened, or if there's things that you need to be aware of that aren't necessarily revealed through the list of plugins they're using, the theme that they're using. Those are things I want to know right away, is what kind of customizations did they do? Especially when the website owner comes to me and they tell me that the original developers of the website were hired from India, Vietnam, some of these other countries where there's a language barrier. Because when I take a look at like the functions.php file, these people, well, there's probably nothing wrong in their approach in how they did it. It just signals to me that they don't understand WordPress or how to leverage certain plugins or themes, because they pretty much build an entire website within their child theme and then somehow hook WordPress into it. Makes it very convoluted of a process. But those are things I want to know right away. And the child theme is pretty quick to reveal how things were set up or how the original developer approached the website. It's all contained within the theme or within plugins. It's easier to manage, I feel like, because it's going to be with theme options, or they've added the CSS into the additional CSS under theme options. You know, things are easier to find, and they're leveraging as much as they can with existing tools. And that I'm okay with. But I just want to know what I'm getting into, especially when it comes to, we need to make these list of changes. Can you do it? And about how long will it take? It's usually a time question. How long will it take? And if there's a ton of customizations that I got to filter through to make a change, well, that changes the estimate. So, yeah. Does that help, Shai? Kind of clarify that?
Yes, thank you.
Cool.
So where would you find that code at? Like once you, okay, so when you went to the website, I guess you uploaded the themes on the website with no code already. So like if it were a website that was already inherited, how would you go about uploading that so you can see what the code was?
It would already be there. Like you wouldn't have to upload anything yourself, because if they're using a child theme, it would display there in our themes, and we could see those files by doing the theme editor. So yeah, we wouldn't have to do anything. We would just be able to review what's already been established through theme editor.
Thank you.
Yeah. Cool. Well, we've reached our hour. If you have more questions, I'm more than happy to stay and chat about them and provide other direction. Yeah, Elon, go ahead.
I sat in with a couple of sessions, and they've talked a little bit about the direction of Divi 5, and I watched that 1-hour interview with Nick Roach on Divi Chat, and he alludes to basically rebuilding Divi from the ground up. I know we haven't had an update since the 13th of April, which is nearly 2 months. I'm guessing the group of hosts talks about it occasionally. Do you have any insight or any inkling of anything you can share with us?
Yeah, so I don't know if you catch the Divi chat with Kenny Singh, the designer, the lead designer for Elegant Themes.
Yeah.
I think he provided the real insight to maybe what's going on inside of Elegant Themes right now, and the path that they're trying to go with Divi is they want to keep everything afloat with what's been built currently, but try to figure out how to build a bigger and better boat called Divi without abandoning everyone else. So they're trying to figure that out. How they're going to do it, I have no idea. But I do know it's a big sticking point for them right now, making it harder to move forward in the ways they want to move forward without breaking millions of websites. And I think that's a direct result of why we're not seeing as many updates to the theme itself, just because they're trying to refine what they have, but try and figure out how they can add in these bigger and better features to the theme. Because Kenny even admits to it, is like, for us to do some of these bigger and cooler things, that would be a huge game changer. We would have to go all the way back and redo it. And when we do that, we would abandon everyone else. And so, I don't know. That's what I got.
Thanks.
Yeah. Sorry, it's not any more insightful. Our Meetup organizer meetings, Nick's not there. It's for us to bug him. So, but
I don't think that Elegant Themes will abandon the people who used it. I think they'll find a way around it. I think, what Nick was talking about is, we can't conceive of what they're going to do, but I think they can. So we just have to wait and see.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think they'll ever abandon their community at all.
No.
No.
I'm sure that whatever they figure out will be
Yeah.
a smooth transition. But yeah.
It'll be exciting. I bet you it will be. It'll be something no one's anticipating, and then you'll say, "Gee, how did he think of that? Must be a genius."
Yep. So
yeah,
I love Divi, but I am also ready for it to truly level up its game. But I can be patient because I love Divi that much. I've already figured out workarounds. I've got my flow, so I'm good. I'm good right now, but any time-saving features they can add, I'm all for it. So, but well, yeah. So it looks like some people are dropping off here. Scott and Betty, thanks for coming. Yeah. Are there any other questions? Or if not, we'll bid farewell for now till next month, or in another Divi meetup around the world. Yeah. Joan, what's your next meetup? Tell everyone what's going on.
Thanks. The next meetup, actually, we've got Doniette Viniki, the content creator at Elegant Themes. I was bold enough to ask her to please, would she like to present? And she said yes. So she's presenting, and it's happening, if you go to Divi Chicago meetup, it's happening on June the 14th, I think, but at 12 p.m. during the day to accommodate her because she lives in Belgium. And she's the one who does all those incredible layouts and does all those tutorials and stuff like that. and she's going to present. So this is great.
That's awesome. And what a great host. So, or guest to have to
Yes,
host.
yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, so see, Cami talks about it all the time, but I think if you go to Meetup Pro, look for Divi, you'll see the list of all the meetups. Look for Jones Chicago Meetup and RSVP to that, so you get the notifications of when it's going on.
Monday, June the 14th. Yeah, she's talking about Divi quick tips and her aha moments.
Nice. I definitely want to be there for that. So
yeah.
So if you guys can make it, come join us. I love these virtual meetups because we get to get exposed to all this great information. So
right, you learn a lot. It's terrific.
True. Well, cool. Yeah, thanks, John, for sharing that with us.
Thanks, Dustin.
If there's anything else, anyone? Otherwise, have a great rest of your week. Today's Wednesday, hump day. We're almost there to the end of the weekend.
Really?
So perfect. Cool. All right, guys. Well, yeah, we'll chat with you later. So next month, for the few that are here, I'm just going to do my typical Q&A. So you got the questions, I'll help you with the answers. So a couple months ago, we had an awesome Q&A, tons of questions, lots of insight from other people too, of things that they're doing, and that was perfect. So I hope we can do that again next month. So be on the lookout for that, and we'll chat with you all later.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thanks, guys.
Cool.
Thanks, Dustin.
Thanks. Yep. See y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.